This is a Texas State House candidate, Shelley Luther. She is speaking at a county Republican event. This is not an outlier. I want to make this clear. I've run into this attitude for a long time on the right. Not necessarily specifically about, well, play the clip.
I don't know any other counties that are more Bible Belt conservative than this district. And it's the Overton window. They have AOC in Congress on the left. And what we have done is become comfortable with what is okay in our society. I am not comfortable with the transgenders, the kids that they brought in my classroom when they said that this kid is transgendering into a different sex, that I couldn't have kids laugh at them, like I couldn't have like other kids got in trouble for having transgender kids in my class. That's why I vote for school choice. And my opponent is completely against school choice. Thank you.
Wow. Did people follow what she was saying here?
Pro-bullying.
I mean,
I think
what do you think what was holding back with that gap?
Oh,
that
yeah.
7-minute gap.
Go back.
Gap.
When she realizes that she may have stepped in it by saying kids should be allowed to ridicule trans kids at school.
I think she was also wondering if she should say something more. Go back here. I mean, which the sentiment as she expressed it in and of itself is just barbaric.
Right.
It is barbaric.
I mean, just imagine what lessons this woman's teaching her children.
But there's other parts that are fascinating about it. Play the clip again, Bradley.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't know any other counties that are more Bible Belt conservative than this district. And it's the Overton window. They have AOC in Congress on the left. And what we have done is become comfortable with what is okay in our society. I am not comfortable with the transgenders, the kids that they brought in my classroom when they said that this kid is transgendering into a different sex, that I couldn't have kids laugh at them, like I couldn't have like other kids got in trouble for having transgender kids in my class. That's why I vote for school choice.
Pause it. Other kids got in trouble for having transgender kids in my class. So she went from like, I can't have kids laugh at the transgender kids. Should I say this? How do I rephrase this? Other kids got in trouble because I had transgender kids in my class. In other words, I was forced to punish kids who may have beat up this kid, or, I mean, we already had laugh at. So like, what is it that she wasn't saying? Mm-hmm. And she thought better of it. The irony, of course, is that she starts the whole thing off by saying, we need to push the Overton window. I'm going to be the person who helps society really, really continue to stigmatize, to hate transgender people. That's you send me to the State House, you send me to Congress, I will be the person who is going to be the ballast on the side of hating, ridiculing, maybe physically beating up transgender kids. And I will tell you this right now, this is not new. This is not unique. I've talked about this, the calls I used to make to the American Family Association. I had almost the exact same call where a guy was like, but it was about kids who were gay. Now they won't let you, bully I think it literally said bully the gay kids. And that's a problem. A little bit of bullying is good for kids. It keeps them in line. And that's what she's advocating. And I'm telling you, like, this is not an outlier. This is an example of what is here and what is coming.
The Overton window shift that she talks about there is that she is promising, if you vote for me, as you say, I will be the person in Congress. I will make it possible for society to be more acceptable of bullying and of hurting and excommunicating, essentially. People, nut jobs like her, see that if we allow for the ridicule of trans kids, then we can essentially convert them back to the good kinds of kids that we appreciate, that we want to foster in society.
And we talked to Chris about these yesterday, but like in Texas, they like their public schools there. This is an attack on that, and she even delivered that there. That's why we're going for school choice. And she didn't say much there, but she said the school choice thing. Also, there is a Fannin County in Georgia and Texas. James Walker Fannin Jr. was an American military figure and slave trader in the Texas Army and leader during the Texas Revolution. He was a transatlantic slave trader. After that was even made illegal. So that's who that was named after.
All right.
School choice has always been about, well, two things. It's evolved. School choice was developed because you do not want your school to be integrated with black kids. That's where that first was developed. It has now been adopted by the Christian right in this country. You go back, you can look, you can find Betsy DeVos and her husband talking about the concept. This is well before she was made Secretary of Education by Donald Trump. No problem with public schools or public education. Only a problem with public schools. So the idea is perfectly okay with taxing people for public education. And then we take the money and we allow for choice. And the numbers do not lie, folks. Charters, all well and good from their perspective, but this is a way to fund Christian parochial schools. Period. End of story. It's what Betsy DeVos wants. It's certainly what this woman wants. It is a way, and the way that you get those folks riled up is all the transgenders that are going to be in the classroom preventing your kids from laughing and beating them up. That's why we need school choice. Segregate out the transgenders. Yeah, I'm sure they also talk about the gays. Mm-hmm. And there probably as a bonus is like, we're going to have, it's okay to have a couple of black people in there, but...
I mean, right now we covered this a little bit, but in Florida, the Florida Education Committee has moved in the direction of allowing for that Don't Say Gay bill to get passed down there, which essentially bars Florida educators from talking about sexual orientation or gender identity whatsoever in classes. So they're
like treat a kid who might have two same-sex parents as that, as if that is something that doesn't need to be kept taboo.
Right, as if it's like a dirty word that you're not allowed to say in school. Essentially, it's a retread of don't ask, don't tell, but we're going to apply it to education policy.
Oh, it's worse than that. I think it's even worse than that, frankly. But yes, it is. We're going backwards without a doubt. And people have been. Who was it that wrote a book about this? Was it Michael Signorelli who wrote a book about this? About it's not over, this fight. It is not over.